A Nigerian, Ibrahim James Pam, has been shortlisted as one of the candidates who may be appointed as the registrar of the International Criminal Court. This decision was contained in a letter dated 17th June and made available to TVC News. President of the Assembly of States Parties to the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, Silsa Fernandez de Gomendi, submitted the 12 shortlisted candidates from 88 who had applied for the position. Mr. Pam is an accomplished international lawyer and criminal investigator with strong leadership experience and specialization in investigation of mass crimes, human rights abuses, as well as fraud and financial crimes. He also has a broad experience in administrative and criminal investigations in multiple jurisdictions around the world on behalf of national and international investigative offices. And joining us live now from South Korea is the candidate, Ibrahim James Pam. Thanks for joining us, Ibrahim Pam.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Now, first things first, congratulations on making the shortlist for the position of registrar of the court. But tell us how this came about.
Well, in the normal course of recruitment, candidates are called to apply, and then you send in an application with a statement of interest, stating why you qualify along the terms of the job description. And that's what I did.
So you are no stranger to the workings of this court, and you have been exposed to international legal challenges that it has faced. Now, if you're appointed, what would your focus and priority be?
Well, the position of registrar of the court is position of being the principal administrative officer of the court. And that's a position that requires the servicing of the ICC and the provision of all services that underlie the work of the judges, as well as the work of the prosecutor. And this position is under the authority of the presidency, the president of the court. My task, and let me just say that we're a long way away yet from the election, but my task then would be, if I were elected the registrar, to ensure the smooth functioning of the court, to exercise impartially and conscientiously the services that are required to keep the court functioning efficiently, and as well as to serve the interests of all parties, including accused persons, victims, witnesses, as well as servicing the judges of the court.
I know you said the election is a long time away, but I'm sure you know that Nigeria, no doubt, will be rooting for your candidature. But there are also issues around human rights. I just want to ask you how you would deal with these issues regarding human rights violation.
So that's actually the essence of the existence of the International Criminal Court. The court was set up in order to address the crimes that are most serious and most grievous in the known to man. And that's been the focus of the court. Of course, responsibilities are shared amongst the principal officers of the court. And the responsibility of the registrar, as I said, is to ensure the smooth and efficient running of the court impartially. The prosecutor and the judges have the responsibility to determine criminal responsibility, as well as to determine sanctions and punishments. So my job, if I were elected to be the registrar, would be to ensure that there is state cooperation and that there is an efficient system by which the judges will come to their determination.
And a lot of international organizations are now being called toothless bulldogs, and that's because of the powers that they are able to wield. So let me ask you about this. What about despotic African regimes and just first world countries that refuse to submit themselves to the court's jurisdiction? That in itself also poses a very serious problem for the court. Is there an approach to these challenges?
Let me say from the outset that some of the media perception may not be entirely correct. African states, because you ask about African leaders, African states have actually been the driving force of the ICC. The African constituency is the largest. Senegal, a West African country, was the first country to ratify the statute of the International Criminal Court. And also, the states in Africa who have submitted to the jurisdiction of the court, several of them have actually come voluntarily seeking the court's assistance in prosecuting crimes. And it's important to understand as well that the court is founded on the principle of complementarity. So the court provides a complementary jurisdiction to the primary jurisdiction of national courts and national judicial systems. So I think there is sufficient scope within the statute of the ICC to address impunity and human rights abuses and mass crimes, but that's also complementary to national jurisdictions. And the ICC seeks to establish complementarity and to establish a cooperative working arrangement with states parties.
You seem to speak well of the relationship between African countries or African leaders and the ICC, but is our understanding that the relationship between Africa and the International Criminal Court has been strained over the years? In fact, several African countries are threatening to withdraw from the ICC, and the African Union is now calling for its reforms. What would you do as a registrar to repair this relationship?
Well, that's going to be a central focus of the work of the registrar. And if I were elected to that position, I would take that responsibility very seriously. As a matter of fact, there's only one African country that is withdrawn from the ICC, and that country is Burundi. And I think that there is sufficient goodwill within Africa and within the African Union to overcome the challenges in the relationship. And in fact, I authored a paper several years ago on the relationship between the International Criminal Court and the African Union. And my call in that paper was really to understand the jurisdictional and philosophical basis on which both the ICC and African states have established elements of the international criminal justice system. So my job would be to canvass the improvement of relations, but also to emphasize the commonalities in the approaches to criminal justice.
We'll be watching out for the next steps in the recruitment process. Thank you so much for your time, Ibrahim Pam, and we wish you good luck.
Thank you very much.